Hey there, guys. Welcome to the channel. My name is Demetrius. I'm head of sales at a company called Better Wealth, where we focus in on high cash value whole life insurance, specifically for those who want to utilize it as a place to borrow against, to invest in things, or use it for retirement, or use it to pay down debt, or whatever that may be. And so that's why you're here. You are a life insurance agent. Maybe you've been in the industry for a very long time. Maybe you haven't been in the industry very long at all. And ultimately, whether you're trying to refine the skills that you have already, or you're trying to build a new skill set because you're learning from square one. That's the purpose of this. So I'm going through a series right now of a complete overhaul of the way that we've been doing sales. So to take you all the way back where we used to start off with, and there's still a lot of elements to this, but it's a matter of, we start off with like, hello, how can I help, and let the clients just go wherever they want. And then we pivoted that into, what do you want and why do you want it, right? Which is helpful because we're kind of narrowing in. And now we're pivoting to like, let's framework that out even more specifically. So in the first video, a couple of videos ago, we went through the connection stage and the first part of the engagement stage, which is situation questions. Then we pivoted into problem awareness stage. That was the last video. So if you haven't made it to those videos yet, my huge, highly encouragement to you would be to go back and watch those videos first before you come to this one, because what I'm doing is taking literally what I'm going to be training my personal team here at Better Wealth, and I'm giving this to you so that you can have a little bit more of a framework. So just stay tuned for future videos as well. We're going to go a lot more deep, but just know that this is just like an overarching overview of the frame. And then that's just kind of what I want to start off the video with. Now, with that said, huge long intro there. I want to, before we get into solution awareness, which is the next phase in the engagement stage of NEPQ, before we go there, I want to take a moment to just reflect and share with you, especially for those who watch the problem awareness video, just kind of reflect on something real quick. And so let me make this a little bit bigger. I think I can do this here, if I'm not mistaken. Boom. Incredible. Perfect. So one of the things that I wanted to reflect on is just like, when it comes to problem awareness, especially for those who have never, delved into sales in this way, where you're getting to a point where you're bringing the subconscious to the conscious level. When you do that, it's like one of the hardest stages to learn, simply because of the fact that, again, like I said, you're bringing the subconscious to the conscious. It's also where you have to be the most nimble, and it'll be the stage where you just have to do the most getting used to, because this is really not a very commonly taught sales way about doing sales. And so it's just a lot of like, man, this is new, this is new, this is new, to the point where it even feels wrong as it comes out of your mouth. But when you do it enough within meetings with clients, and when you do it enough even before you get into meetings, i.e. rehearsal with yourself out loud in front of a camera, in front of a mirror, then it's going to start to come out a lot more smooth. And you just got to remember to just be a good human, right? And don't be weird in your conversations that you're having with people. So I just want to highlight that. And so one of the things when it comes to committing to mastery is a commitment to memorization. So memorizing as much as you can, take some flashcards and like really quiz yourself along the way. That really helps to commit to mastery. Now, let's move on to solution awareness, which is the main meat of the conversation we're going to be talking about today. So the purpose of the solution awareness stage, or the solution awareness phase of the engagement stage, is to help the prospect visualize what the solution overarchingly could look like. Now, you're doing so in such a way that where you're not naming any of the products, you're not naming the solution in and of itself. That's not what this phase is for. But what it's doing is we're shifting from problems over into how can these problems be solved, right? We're shifting from problem to vision. We're shifting from what's wrong to what to do instead, or we're shifting from what's wrong to what is it that you want to do about it ultimately. And what we're doing during this entire phase is we're asking open-ended questions. Okay, we're doing this on purpose because we want our prospects, we want them to imagine an ideal scenario. Okay, we want to be the guide for our prospects, right? We want to be the guide to self-discovery, more specifically self-discovery of the value that we want to provide to them. And this is super important as well, because our prospects they have to feel the benefits, even before you ever present it to them, which is going to be a later video that we share in the future. Now, I want to give an example, or like an analogy. And I think about my wife. right? She's kind of into skincare and has a skincare routine and all that sort of stuff. And, nothing wrong with that by any stretch of the imagination. And so one of the things that I know she likes to do is essentially, or what she would prefer to do is prepare her face, if you will, right? Whether that's a warm towel, steam, hot shower, whatever. What that's doing is opening up the pores so that whatever product she's going to put on her face can actually soak into her skin the way she wants it to. So in that same way, when it comes to sales in the solution awareness phase, this we really want our prospects to um, open up, right, during the problem awareness stage, so that they can then so that the solution itself, as they start to say that out loud, can start to sink in as well. So we do this again by asking open-ended questions, and then we want to probe, and then we want to probe again, and if we need to, we're going to go ahead and probe again, right? Now, in that, I'm saying probe, 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 but we're also talking about clarifying questions as well, because there is a key distinction when it comes to the difference between the two of those. So let's say, for example, um, you know, let's say you're able to have more flexibility and protection for your money. How would that change the way you approach your retirement planning or investments? you know well, and then they say, well, I could take bigger risk, and I know a lot of my money is intact. I could take a lot more bigger risk. Okay, amazing. So with you being able to take bigger risk, in what ways do you feel like that would help you most, though? Okay, what would it mean for your family and even like long-term plans, right? So what we're doing is we're kind of seeding what kind of responses we want to give them to a degree, but these are the things that they actually care about, because these are the impact that it'll actually have on them. And all we're doing is we're asking questions to a point where they are then saying out loud to us, right? They're saying out loud to us the solutions that they want, but more importantly, they're saying out loud to themselves the solution that they want. What would it look like once they have the problem that they're dealing with? What would it look like once they have that problem solved? Okay, hope that makes sense. Now, um, one of the things that makes a lot of sense and that helps a ton through the entire process is to have this reminder in the back of your head constantly of like, what is the tone that I have, right? How am I framing my questions? How am I being perceived? And so we want to keep the whole sales conversation, from moment one to moment last. We want to keep it conversational. We want to keep it curious. We want to remain detached. Again, this is a part of the ABDs of selling. What does that mean? Always be disarming. Ditch the whole idea of ABCs of selling, always be closing, because those who are aware of the ABDs of selling close more frequently than those who are always be closing, right? And you also going to feel better about the sale, and your prospects are going to feel more better about the sale, and they don't even feel like they're being sold to by any stretch of the imagination, right? We want to avoid leading our prospects to this point where they feel like you're giving them a sales pitch, right? When you do that, there's sales breath, and they can smell it, and it's a strong, strong odor. And so we want to be aware of that as much as we can. So we want to avoid sounding like we're leading them to a product pitch. Okay, we also want to be present. This matters, right? This is a part of just being human, being a good human. Be present in the moment that you're in. You need to do your best at all times and just be cognizant of this. Like, stay in their world. It's all about their desires. It's all about their goals, what they want to accomplish. It's not about yours. And I think what happens, especially when we're working with a product that we ourselves actually do like, right? Like high cash value whole life insurance, hand raised right here. I have a policy for myself, right? I could just tell all the stories about my policy and how I've used it and this and that. But it's like, man, I could do that, and on one hand, maybe that could make some sense to do so, but perhaps only if they ask me. I don't want to give unsolicited talk about myself, because that's not what this whole conversation is about whatsoever. So we have to stay present and be in their world. It's about their desires, what they want to accomplish, not about you. Okay. Also, in that same vein, let's say you love the product that you sell or whatever. You don't have to pivot and give examples about a million different things just so like you can hope that one of those examples stick really well and resonates really well with the prospect. It's just not necessary. And when it comes to NEPQ, you want to just follow the process to the T as best as you can. But although that's the case, it's not necessarily like it's like a gospel to a standpoint of like it's this or nothing, right? It's more along the lines of see it as a framework and instill that framework in your brain so that you can be nimble within said framework. Okay, hope that makes sense. Now, moving on, I mentioned this before, but I think is worth reiterating. Okay, your goal as the salesperson in this particular case, your goal and role is to guide, is not to sell, right? You're not offering solutions at this point. You're simply helping them describe the kind of solution that they want to see, right? You're doing so with skilled, open-ended questions, getting them to pull out of their mind the solutions that they want to see. Okay? The key distinction here is that they are the ones describing it. You are not the one describing it. Okay? When we do it this way, it's going to cause our prospects to see you as the professional that they can turn to, and that you'll also be the professional that can actually solve their problem. You're going to be the one that they can trust. You're going to be one that they can turn to. You're going to be the one that can solve the problems that they're after, all because of the way that you formed the conversation, the questions that you ask, and things like that. And all of this, it creates a very natural, seamless bridge into the next stage, which we'll get into in the next couple of videos: consequences and commitment. And it really primes your prospects. It really primes them to connect with to connect your offering to the ideal outcome. Like, they want to be in a particular place. They know an inkling that you're able to do it. You widen the gap enough to where they're convinced 100% that you can do it. And so they now know that your offering can, in fact, lead them to an ideal outcome. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know in the comments what questions you have whatsoever. I'm happy to help in any ways that I can. My goal here is not to sell you anything. That's not my point at this point in time at all. I just want to share the things that I've been learning, the things that I am sharing with my team at this point in time. And if there's anything that I can do, whether that's a conversation in the comments or a phone call, video, whatever that may be, happy to do so. So have an incredible rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.